discuss ocean habitats. They're also called as biozones and their characteristics. Habitats, so you could start off the answer by saying that oceans make up almost 3/4 of the world's surface. They make up almost 3/4 of the world's surface. Oceans are important biozones. Biozones का मतलब है where life form survives, where life form lives. Biozones. Okay. Now, ocean biozones broadly can be divided into two parts. एक है coastal biozones और एक है pelagic biozone. Coastal biozone, this is the coastal part, within the 200 meters depth, and pelagic biozones, these are the open oceans. The coastal biozones and the pelagic biozones. Now, the coastal biozones जो हैं, these are also called as the neritic province. This includes littoral, it means intertidal, between the high tide and the low tide. And coastal also includes supra-littoral. The meaning of supra-littoral, supra means above the high tide. Actually, what's also called as the spray zone. Okay, so यहाँ पर water enters only in case of abnormally very high tides. Abnormally very high tides, tsunamis में, storm surge में यहाँ पानी आता है. Okay, supra littoral includes the mangrove forests also. It includes the mangrove forests. ठीक है? Yeah, this is the salt spray zone. This is a salt spray zone. Now see, this is the example of what I mean by bringing geography into your answer. A non-geography student cannot know these terms. Neritic province, usko pata nahi hoga. He will not know the word called littoral. He will not know the word called pelagic. So even if you ask a question, discuss marine ecosystems, ऐसे का पूछते हैं, general studies में. So how do you bring geography into that in an optional paper is use terms from your syllabus. Use terms from your geographical say reference. इसको बस mention कर देना है. This is and ये littoral and supra-littoral जो है, this will also include estuaries. It will include lagoons. It will include, I said mangroves, and also will include swamps and wetlands. If this is your ocean, this is the continental break. This is the shelf. जो ये वाला part है, this is neritic. Whereas जो ये वाला part है, this is pelagic. Now benthic अलग चीज है. Benthic is different. This is the ocean. This is the ocean water. This is the ocean water. When you use the word benthic, you're talking about the floor. फिर होगा neritic का benthic floor, और फिर होगा pelagic का benthic floor. जब floor की बात करें वो अलग है. So yes, we also have the marine life zone in terms of the floor also. This is the deep floor. This is the shallow floor. This is the neritic, benthic floor. Otherwise, this water is called as, ये जो water है, this water is called as neritic water. ये जो water है, इसको बोलते हैं neritic water. The water of the continental shelf. And this is the open oceans. You recall what you have done as a part of pelagic. Neritic floor भी हो सकता है, नेरेटिक वाटर भी हो सकता है. You can have both the terms. Okay, नेरेटिक फ्लोर भी हो सकता है, नेरेटिक वाटर भी हो सकता है. Okay, yes, the bulk of the life forms are on the floor. You can add that hydropelagic and the rest. Hydropelagic is more than 6,000 meters की बात हो रही है. Okay, this is the coastal part. Coastal part में estuaries, lagoons, swamps, wetlands, mangroves, okay, shallow waters हैं, and pelagic is the open waters. Okay, pelagic waters you can divide in terms of epipelagic, mesopelagic, bathypelagic, abyssopelagic, and hadal pelagic. Epipelagic is within 200 meters. Meso is from 200 to 1,000 meters. Bathypelagic is 1,000 to 4,000 meters. Abyssopelagic is 4,000 to 6,000 meters. Okay, and hadal pelagic is more than 6,000 meters. So आपका ocean floor की ये depth है. These are the depth of the waters. Okay, and this is entirely on the basis of the layering of the ocean waters. Okay, now the floor of the oceans is the floor है. Okay, the floor of the ocean is called as the benthic biozone. The benthic biozone, it has more than 90% of all life forms, and this also includes the floor of the shallow waters. ये भी shallow waters का floor है. The word benthic, okay, this word benthic is related to the word benthic है. This basically means floors, the floor of the ocean. If I classify again for you, just for your sake of clarity, so जब habitat को हम differentiate करते हैं, habitat can be on the basis of the water province, and the habitat can be on the basis of the floor, the benthic. On the basis of the water province, it can be shallow water, it can be open water. Shallow water along the coast and open water. वैसे ही floor भी होगा, okay, continental shelf का floor और एक है open. ठीक है? So this is the neritic waters, this is the pelagic waters. Floor में this is the neritic floor, and we have the benthic floor. देखो, you do not need so much of classification. It doesn't make sense. आपको कुछ terms जानना होगा, and you should know what to focus on. Because Shabbir Sir gives lot of classification every chapter. Okay, in chapter में आप देखेंगे ना, Shabbir Sir का ये खासियत है. Every chapter we have 2 pages of classification on the basis of climate, on the basis of vegetation, on the basis of depth, on the basis of human activities, on the basis of perception, God knows whatever he wants. इतना complicated जरूरी नहीं है. You need to focus on the more important ones and be through with it. तो ठीक है, now you understand better. Neritic pelagic में भी आता है, neritic floor में भी आता है. The word neritic का मतलब होता है shallow. Shallow waters within 200 meters which has a floor. The continental shelf region is the neritic zone. Neritic zone का neritic floor, pelagic zone का pelagic floor. Okay, so what I did was I combined all of this together into one quick discussion which was here. मैंने ये classification ऐसा नहीं लिया है. Okay, I have taken the classification like this: the coastal waters and the pelagic waters, and we have differentiated. Okay, now the question was discuss the habitat and zones, and we're talking about what are the characteristics. This is an important part. What are the characteristics? Some properties, right? We'll talk about temperature. We'll talk about salinity. You can talk about oxygen content. You can talk about nutrient content. Like you'll talk about sunlight. You can also talk about productivity. These are the 4-5 dimensions of characteristics. And you can't separate them, okay? If you separate them, you can't handle it. Okay, इसको आपको साथ लिखना पड़ेगा. Okay, so something like these are the 6 elements of characteristics. Okay, और biozones की बात हो रही है. Okay, now you must write all of this together. So look at how I'm doing it. Okay, we say oceans, biozones can be differentiated on the basis of varying physical and chemical properties. The shallow waters of the neritic and the epipelagic zone is the warmest. It has much of the ocean's temperatures, mostly temperatures. It is relatively less dense and it has a higher productivity. In particular, the shallow neritic province, estuaries, swamps, lagoons have high productivity and have higher content of oxygen. They have higher content of oxygen proportions. आपके टेक्स्ट बुक में there is a graph, habitat chapter जो है, page number 345. See the page 345. एक ग्राफ है आपका, and I want this graph to be drawn. Layers of water, oxygen content is higher, then it falls and then again increases. Nutrient level is less, okay, then it starts increasing and then it falls. Page 345 में ये oxygen का है और ये है nutrients का. Now I've tried to look into many books here. Why this pattern? None of them explain the entire process. All they say is, ये जो pattern है is the consequence of, okay, 3 things. Consequence of the ocean mixing, the consequence of interaction with the atmosphere, and because of the life form functioning. Okay. Ocean mixing includes ocean currents and also includes the vertical mixing. So ये pattern जो है, I would want you to straight away copy this down. Okay, how the oxygen level is high, it starts reducing in the transition zone. ये 1000 meters का depth है. It starts reducing oxygen. Nutrients का ठीक उल्टा है. Nutrient is more in the depth. Okay, it increases and then it rapidly falls. So upper parts में the nutrients is a bit less, and maybe because the nutrients also gets rapidly consumed. Why the nutrients starts falling? Because ऊपर layer में काफी life forms होते हैं. They rapidly consume the nutrients. So there are 3 things. There are 3 reasons why this pattern. I said एक reason है ocean mixing, like a vertical mixing, ocean currents. The second reason is the atmospheric interaction. ऊपर में आपका atmosphere है. The atmosphere interacts with the ocean's water. There's some interaction going on in terms of gases mixing, evaporation, rainfall, and the rest. And the third is the life form functioning, the physiology. But none of the reference books I had tell us exactly what's happening and why this pattern is built up. तो बेटा आप लोग भी इतना ही लिख के छोड़ देना. Even Samindra Singh does not detail why this pattern develops. Okay, so this is part of a discussion about the upper layers, the shallow layers, the neritic and the epipelagic layers. The second reason is the interaction of the oceans with the atmosphere. Why does nutrient peak? Because lower down में the metabolism rates of the life forms are lesser, and below you have got more production. आपके rocks हैं वहां पर, hydrothermal vents हैं वहां पर, 90% of life forms are at the bottom. Lot of nutrients comes from the salts. Lot of nutrients come from the life form remains. 345. This is the chapter of ocean habitats. So I repeat the three reasons for this pattern. एक है ocean water mixing और एक है interaction with the atmosphere. The third is life form processes. Okay, metabolism, life form processes. Ocean water mixing में you have got currents and you also have the vertical movements of upwelling and downwelling. तो shallow waters का ये pattern है. Now the water is less dense, high productivity areas हैं. Okay, shallow waters की productivity is more than 500, okay, as high as 1200, okay, grams, okay, per area per year. I hope you know the productivity. Okay, productivity is very, very high यहाँ पर. Shallow waters में the productivity is very, very high. Okay, more than 500 to 1200 grams per area per year. Okay, there are 6 characteristics you have to discuss: temperature, salinity, ocean, nutrient status, sunlight, and productivity. My suggestion is, इसको अलग-अलग मत कर देना. अलग-अलग करोगे, you can't handle it. You don't have as much words on temperature alone. You don't have as much words on salinity. You can't detail on nutrients alone. इसको आप divide कर देना into 2 broad parts. So this is the shallow water का properties. Okay, and then you talk about the properties of the pelagic waters. Pelagic waters में वैसे ही, okay, shallow waters में क्या है, and talk about the deeper waters. Deeper waters, okay, they will be high in carbon dioxide. They will be high in nutrients. Okay, they have lesser salinity. Okay, and pelagic waters, जो deeper waters हैं, pelagic and deeper waters, they will also have relatively lower productivity. In fact, good parts of pelagic waters, because of low productivity, the open waters are also referred to as biological deserts. Because of low productivity, the open waters are referred to as biological deserts. जो more variety of productivity है, high productivity is in the shallow waters and parts of deeper waters. जो open waters हैं, they have relatively lesser productivity. देखो ये सारा कुछ लपेटना है आपको एक आंसर के अंदर. So 2.5 page is what I'll suggest you should write this answer in, not more than that. Now you could add up some data. Yeah, page 403 देखो. Pelagic waters, I said. Again, pelagic waters include the shallow epipelagic. They include the deeper waters, and in general, deeper waters are higher in carbon dioxide, higher in nutrients compared to the very shallow parts. They will have lower salinity in general, and they have lower productivity also. And because they have lower productivity, the open waters are referred to as biological deserts. Okay, and you want some figure on productivity, page 403 देखो. Page 403, pick up whatever you can from here. There's a table of gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Open oceans का बहुत कम है. Coral reefs, estuaries, upwelling zone, the shelf part, the algal beds, they have higher ones. Okay. Oxygen at the depth is lesser. So if you look at the oxygen, the least is in this zone. उसके बाद ये बढ़ जाता है. So it's not the least. It is lesser, but not the least. The least is here in the zone of the pycnocline or that intermediate layer. Okay. Nutrient का वैसे ही. In general, the deeper waters have higher nutrients. Benthic zone और water में फर्क है ना? This is the ocean. ठीक है. Benthic का मतलब है floor और ये है waters. ये है waters. This is the pelagic water. This is the benthic floor. तो लाइफ फॉर्म्स यहां पर हैं, वो तो ठीक है, बट ये जो ओपन वाटर है, दिस इज ऑल बायोलॉजिकल डेजर्ट्स. ओके, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज नेरिटिक. पेलाजिक का जो ऊपर लेयर है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज एपीपेलाजिक. दिस शुड नॉट बी कॉल्ड एज नेरिटिक. So that is the correction बोल लो या मॉडिफिकेशन कर लो in your write-up. एक है ओशन का डिफरेंशिएशन. क्लासिफिकेशन में एक है ओशन वाटर का डिफरेंशिएशन और एक है ओशन फ्लोर का डिफरेंशिएशन. ओशन फ्लोर will include the benthic zone. Ocean water will include the pelagic and the neritic. तो फ्लोर और वाटर में कंफ्यूज मत करो. The water, this is the province. This is the ocean province. The deposit. Okay. ये pelagic water का deposit on the floor. This is pelagic water का deposit on the floor. So ये वाला. We don't use the word benthic here. So when we say pelagic deposits, we imply the deposits of the open ocean का floor. Pelagic deposits means the deposits of the floor of the open ocean. The word benthic is used for the life form. Pelagic deposit includes biogenous, ooze, will include red clay, will include cosmogenous, will it include terragenous deposits or not? Yes, what we call as terragenous muds. Okay, these are very fine. And it also include the hydrogenous, which is the precipitates, the PMN, and also the evaporites. Evaporites कम होता है, precipitates and PMN ज़्यादा होता है. So if they ask you pelagic deposits, you must write about all the deposits. Turbidity currents transport the deposits from the shallow neritic floor to the deeper pelagic floor. The turbidity currents, they transfer the shallow neritic deposits to the deeper pelagic floor. What are the zones of marine habitats? What are the biozones? And discuss their properties. Discuss the properties. अलग-अलग मत कर देना. Make it 2 different paragraphs or 3 different paragraphs. A part of the answer could also be on the patterns. Patterns में you can talk about the tropical waters versus the temperate waters का habitats. You can talk about coral reefs, mangroves. Temperate regions में you can talk about kelp forests. Like you can do that. Conclusion में take it towards significance, importance. Talk about marine biodiversity. Talk about fishing, importance. Talk about sustainable use of ocean resources. And remember, या तो solution होगा या futuristic होगा. If you know about India, maybe you can also add here that marine habitats have to be conserved. Do you know of some initiatives? Marine protected areas, MPA, SDG 14, marine hotspots, conservation of coral reefs. ठीक है?